Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? LiveWire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't wanna miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is LiveWire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome to another LiveWire Sports Media update. So I had this video that I was meaning to get out like probably a week or so ago. No, I won't say a week or so ago, more like last week. And it was dealing with Caitlin Clark's impact on the CBA. It was more like her impact with the new CBA agreement and her marketability, which I did a video about her marketability and everything, stating that, you know, her impact and how it is and everything like that. So I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into this because there's a lot of significant things that need to be drawn out, because when you're dealing with a superstar like Caitlin Clark and what her impact has been with WNBA, it just only goes to show a little bit deeper how influential she could be at these negotiated tables. Now, one of the I think he's like a ex WNBA person, or not WNBA, but NBA person. He dived a little bit deeper about what her impact could be for the CBA as they negotiate a new deal, which the CBA has, you know, they got approved for over $2 billion for the new CBA deal. But now that this Breonna Stewart and Arike Umwali, they want more money. They want more. They want to be paid more. They want to be on the same level as the NBA players. They want to make sure that they get a fair share. But the owners have their own take on it because they see the revenue that has generated this year. But it goes back again because the WNBA has a financial burden of $40 million that is, you know, that's owed. So how can they capitalize on this? Well, you're going to have to either bring Caitlin Clark to the table. They're going to have to sit down and say, well, hey, you know, her impact has generated millions from ticket sales, attendances, merchandise, and all of this stuff. But again, I will advise Caitlin to be involved not as much, because when Michael Jordan did it, he was involved, but not as heavily. But his presence was much needed because he was that guy. He was moving the needle in the NBA, and the WNBA has that same person, Caitlin Clark. Now we see that on Rival and the Big Three, they all after Caitlin Clark. The Big Three first, now on Rival. You know, they wanted her to be a part of their brand, just to make sure that she was able to bring some new money, new eyes. But it's a 3-on-3 league. Caitlin is not going to play in a 3-on-3 league. She's going to play a 5-on-5 or go overseas. But she's not doing that this year. So with that being said, I'm going to show this clip real quick, and then I'm going to dive back in.
We all know what a star MJ was, but I argue there might not be a player in history with more influence in CBA talks than Rookie of the Year Caitlin Clark. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I think some of it will be whether or not Caitlin takes a role in it, an active role in it. Michael it wasn't always heavily involved, but when he did decide to get involved, it made a difference. It galvanized players. It I think to some degree intimidated owners. So it really depends on how Caitlin decides to decides not to wield her power. She certainly has a tremendous amount of power, with the fan base that she's she has following her. So I think she certainly could be that person, but we'll have to wait and see if she is that person.
Right, because Caitlin, right, has such a huge influence, right, on the growth this past year. And what if she's like, I'm not playing, I'm going to Unrivaled, right, the new startup league? That's
yeah. I mean, that would be devastating to the WNBA if she used that sort of leverage. And I think that they would probably do a lot to avoid that happening.
But you said that when MJ was in the room, it changed the tenor in the room, you would say, when he was involved. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Unlike anybody, I mean, we had a lot of influential players, and a lot of players, made very meaningful contributions, but it was really hard it'd be really hard to say that anybody had more of an impact than Michael did at the meetings that he was at.
Me personally, I agree. Having Caitlin having Caitlin there is going to help navigate a little bit more, because we already see what they had agreed to before, and now they're coming back to the table. But also, you have Adam Silver. He has came out. He has talked about it. He has generally talked about everything that needed to be done. But then he said, even Adam Silver said that, hey, negotiations still been going on behind the scenes. So they've been already working on this. They already knew this was about to come to head. But at the same time, they continue to like sugarcoat the importance. They try to sugarcoat the impact that Caitlin had in the league when we already know what she was about. We seen it from college. We saw it in her first year in the WNBA. So why not continue to, as Stephen A. Smith will say, market her, use her marketing ability. I keep saying this before. Caitlin Clark has a major in marketing. She has a great team around her. If you want to get something, but you're not going to get what you expected. And once you do that, then you could come back in another, 2, 3 years, 4 years, and renegotiate, because then the landscape of the WNBA will be a little bit higher, because guess what? You will have a Page already in the league. Then you will have Juju coming out. So that is going to catapult everything a little bit more higher. And then by that, during them times, Caitlin Clark will solely be, she is the face of the league. She becoming the face of the league. She would be solely the face of the league. She would be taking the league in a different plateau. Then you would have somebody like a Page, if she could carry the weight. Juju, if she could carry the weight. But I don't know if they're going to have the impact as Caitlin Clark. They'll have some impact, but I don't think they're going to have that impact, because you got to think about it. MJ did it for so long. It took somebody like Kobe Bryant to come next. I don't think so. Maybe Juju can be that next person to help push it a little bit more and say, well, okay, Caitlin got it here. Let's see if she could push it a little bit more. But Caitlin still be in the league. She'll still be that force, because everybody's going to want to see her play, regardless of who you are. It's all about what Caitlin Clark provides right now. And these ladies, on the committee, they tried to downplay this for so long, and it kind of hurt their argument because now they coming back around to be like, oh, well, you know what? Caitlin Clark should have been a unanimous Rookie of the Year. Caitlin Clark, her trajectory, what she has done for the league, and they still be trying to slide Angel Reese in there. Yeah, her, Cameron, all of them, they played a part. But no one played a bigger part than Caitlin Clark. Because if Caitlin Clark didn't come out, you think half of them would be getting this new deal? No. You'll think TV viewership would be up as it is? No. So they don't want to give her credit, but people see it and then try to minimize it. I'm going to let you listen to what Stephen A. Smith got to say, and then I'm going to come back.
The WNBA players have opted out of their current collective bargaining agreement and face the prospect of a work stoppage if they don't reach a new deal before the end of the season. The move comes as the league recently entered into an historic 11-year media rights deal with Disney, Amazon Prime, and NBC for $200 million a year. The players also cited higher television ratings, attendance figures, and franchise values for opting out. Stop right there. Stop right there. The players are absolutely right. They only get 10% of basketball-related income compared to the 50% that the NBA players get. Players citing higher television ratings, attendance figures, franchise values as the reason for opting out. Now, wait a damn minute. Wait a damn minute. What have I been saying? I said Caitlin Clark, rising tide lifts all boats. As much as her presence was maximized by the WNBA, you players could have done more to assist it. I just spoke about Sue Bird over a week ago, and everybody talking about other WNBA players not being appreciated. Nobody insulted them. Nobody dismissed their contribution. We were simply saying, despite the contributions for years and years and years, a lot of people didn't care, fair or not, until Caitlin Clark came along. Not only her, Angel Reese to some degree as well, but Caitlin Clark more so, and her and the combination of Angel Reese, it elevated television ratings, it elevated attendance, and it damn sure elevated franchise value. But now, something that y'all resisted talking about, opining about, acknowledging, now you want to come and say, let's opt out of the CBA because of those very, very things. You know what I would say to y'all? Then are you willing to admit how stupid it was for y'all not to go all in speaking your piece to elevate Caitlin Clark? So therefore, even more attention could have come and y'all could have reaped the benefits? Now you're going to do it anyway. And I get that, but you see my point? Higher television ratings, higher attendance figures. Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't come courtesy of a league. It comes courtesy of the players that play in the league. And in her case, she was the most popular, which means she could have helped your bottom line, which means you should have seen that from day one and maximized it. But you didn't do it. You didn't want to, rather. You were a bit hesitant and reluctant and resistant to it. So much so you didn't push for her to be on Team USA. So much so you had people like Cheryl Swoops who didn't even want to mention her name. Now, it didn't hurt that much. But if you went the opposite direction, it could have helped that much and facilitated you being in an even stronger position to get yours. But you didn't do it. You didn't do it. Wow. I mean, I have to acknowledge, y'all make me feel brilliant sometimes. I really don't look at myself that way. I'm just a hard worker. I work, I put.
All right, so you listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say. And if you sit back and think about it now, how silly it is, all that they had to do is accept her from the beginning. They knew how popular she was. They knew what she was about. They knew she had the fan base. She knew the attention was coming. The league didn't prepare for it. They got caught with their pants down. And at the end of the day, guess what? Here we are. Now, I'm going to let y'all listen to what Adam Silver had to say on this matter, and then I'll definitely come back in.
NBA, who did their media rights deal with you in partnership with the NBA. In hindsight, given the unbelievable surge in ratings and attention, was that a mistake? Should they have done their rights deal separately?
Well, first of all, we are all one integrated business. So, when you say they,
Yes,
they is us.
Right.
Yeah, we're all one organization. Sure. I guess the question is, should we collectively have gone out and had separate discussions around the WNBA? I would say, in essence, we did. And we're always testing the market. I mean, to say the market may be in a different place than it was at the time we were negotiating, we'll see. There's still additional WNBA deals that we're going to do. So we'll see whether the marketplace suggests there's different valuations than the ones we did. I would say in the aggregate, with the deals we already did, plus the deals that the WNBA now is going to do, the remaining packages, you're looking at roughly a 6 times increase from the current rights fees. Could we have done even better than that? I'm not sure. Again, we'll see. There's also resets, as I think you're aware of, built into the existing deals, so that I think both sides knew going into these. Let's see whether, these negotiations began long before this season, so we hadn't experienced this season's ratings yet, but there had been upticks along the way with the WNBA. And I think there was an acknowledgement from both sides that to the extent that the market was better or different than we were predicting, both sides agreed they'd sit down in good faith and make adjustments. By the way, because the expansion issue is front and center in the WNBA as well. Yeah. And then so you have to determine, even use WNBA, for example, where there's enormous interest in expansion franchises right now. How much talent is there to go around in the near term? I mean, there's a lot of girls and young women playing basketball, so there's no question it's going to grow over the years.
There was a recent story in the New York Post talking about your WNBA sort of evaluations, where it seemed to say that there was a certain group of owners that were expressing frustration with you that the WNBA teams were not worth more than they are now, in part because of the way how much control is owned by the league. Was that story correct? Are you working with owners to try to address that issue?
Yeah, there was a lot of different points in that story, so it's hard to say correct or not correct. I would just say the answer is yes, we're working with WNBA owners that also own NBA teams, and then more broadly, the NBA owners on what the right valuation of WNBA teams are going forward, what the best way is to operate that league. It's very integrated now with the NBA. There's aspects over time under Commissioner Engelbert's direction where they're still fairly integrated. They share the same office space with the NBA, but under her direction, we've added some separate departments, like, for example, where they're doing their own marketing right now. They have their own basketball operations department. So it's a balance of things, but I'd say we're collectively looking at all those issues, figuring out.
All right. You hear what he had to say. Now, me personally, if you listen to Adam Silver, you could tell he didn't want to get too involved in that question about him and the owners having a conversation, because we already know that the owners already are pissed off at him because Dolan been trying to get in contact with him and he hasn't returned his call. So if you see how he hesitated, or you listen to how he hesitated about talking to the owners and stuff like that, he knows that the owners are pissed because a lot of the owners, some of these owners own teams in the WNBA. Now, me personally, a lot of these teams don't have ownership. But would it make sense? I said this before in another video, that if the WNBA is smart and they want to bring talent and keep talent in the WNBA, add a G League. Develop your players to be better ballers, be better skill players, not just out there. Because you see players out there is really some of them decent, but some of them not. When you can't make layups in a game, you don't know how to utilize the backboard for a bank shot, and you don't know how to, like, you're not fundamentally sound. You just out there running around. Some of these young ladies that's coming up that might not get drafted need development, or find a league overseas or whatever the case might be, but make it a G League like the NBA does. Have a G League, a women's G League, for these women could develop, so they could still get the opportunity to not go overseas but play in the United States. There's so many things in this iron out. Now, I do want to touch on something real quick before I get out of here, and that's Allison Barber. When Allison Barber did her interview, and she sat down and said that Caitlin Clark was trying to help them get bonuses for flights, visitors for flights, and they shot it down. You know what I'm saying? They shot it down because of the current CBA. Well, guess what? Now that you have a new CBA deal coming up and you're negotiating more revenue, guess what? It will behold to have Caitlin Clark in that meeting to actually help implement something like that this time around, since y'all didn't want to use her idea this time. But will Nika and Brianna willing to have Caitlin sit in? I don't know. They'd be dumb not to. But see, Breanna Stewart wants to utilize Caitlin for her own rival more than have her help the WNBA. Because see, what they trying to do, like they did the last time, they want more money, but they didn't put money in the pocket of the rookies. If you look at the salary that the rookies making right now, it's peanuts to what they making. But they would be smart to have Caitlin Clark at the front and center and say, hey, you know what? Let's get Caitlin Clark in the front of here. You know, she's the needle mover. I mean, hell, it won't hurt to even have, I don't know, I would say have Angel Reese, but I don't know. She might have this little attitude thing, you know. You need somebody with a level head. That's just my opinion. But you would be mindful to have Caitlin Clark there and say, hey, Caitlin, what's your idea? What do you think we talk about? Piggyback off of that. Give her the idea. Say, hey, this is what we need. Learn how to have some talking points. You got Kelsey Plum, you got all of them out there, but none of them is talking. You negotiate for maternity leave in your last agreement. You got to agree to that. But then you didn't really get anything else to put on the table. Now you threaten a lockout because you feel like this is the only way you could get your talking point across. But just be mindful, a lockout only gonna go but so far. Because the NBA and the WNBA, like I said before, they'll be able to get players to come in and, you know, and the only way a lockout work, everybody gonna have to agree to it. And I don't see everybody agreeing to a lockout. I don't see that happening. Anyway, that's my wrap-up report. Like I say, I think Caitlin has the same marketability as Michael Jordan. I think she brings a strong case to the table. It's just up to them how they want to bring her to the table. Because some of these women are still jealous and bitter that she came into the league with all this attention, her and Angel Reese, and now they see that the impact that Caitlin made, now they want to capitalize it for their own selfish reasons. And me personally, Caitlin ain't built that way. She ain't wired that way, and she don't get down that way. You know, So at the end of the day, Caitlyn definitely is trying to, do her thing, but help the league grow. She's all about helping the league grow, but at the right expense. If she has an idea for that, well, imagine what other ideas she might have that could be beneficial for all the women in the league. Sometimes you're going to have to sit down and put your pettiness, your jealousy aside and say, you know what, hey, we all can get paid. Why not bring this young lady to the table? Yeah, she's 22, but she's very smart. She has great ideas. Because guess what? Breonna Stewart, you ain't going to be playing forever. Nika, you're not going to be playing forever. So, and you got Kelsey Plum, what? She's I don't know what she is, vice president? I think Breonna Stewart, the vice president. I don't know what Kelsey Plum's position is on the board. But still, at the end of the day, y'all will be smart. Stephen A. Smith said it before. Y'all could have had her at the Olympics, but y'all didn't want to deal with her fans. Y'all didn't want to deal with the attention. And guess what? You didn't get no attention at all. But you had to come back to the WNBA because all eyes was on the W. So that's my point right there. I think that the CBA deal gets done. I think it's not going to be what Nika and Breonna Stewart think it's going to be. I think they going to have to give up something to get something. That's just how negotiations work. You don't get everything that you want. You don't. Hell, I want to make $50 an hour. I'm nowhere close to that. So let me know what y'all think about it. What you think about Caitlyn's impact on the CBA? Me personally, I think it would be good if she does sit on the table. I think being in that negotiated deal, I think she will do good. I think having her there will be plus. But will they bring her in? I think it'll be a major mistake if they don't bring her in. I think if they don't bring her in to have some kind of leverage, then I don't see them getting everything that they want or some of the things that they want. Just my opinion. Till then, LiveWire Sports Media, deuces.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? LiveWire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is LiveWire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.